Hello, Captain. Today we will go for a new adventure together, and I hope you are ready for it. In the last video, we have just finished the A320 tutorial series, and as some of you asked, it's good to make a sum-up flight that links together all of the knowledge learned in each separate videos. I hope this full flight will give you a better view of the sequence to perform during each flight phase. As usual, feel free to ask your question in the comment section. I will try my best to answer. Welcome back in this A320 cockpit. It's time to start up this beast. Let's power up the plane. Battery, external power, and then initialize the IRS. Go to the tablet and load your flight plan info from SimBrief. Set the payload and start onboarding passenger. Set the target fuel and start refueling. Now the plane is slowly loading and we can start configuring the MCDU. Go to the Init page and start filling the missing informations. Departure arrival airports, flight number, cruise altitude, and initial GPS reference. The cost index can be found on your tablet. Then go to the second Init page and enter weight info. From the tablet, we can see the target zero fuel weight is 57 tons and center of gravity 32.21. Let's enter these infos. As passengers are boarding, let's power on the seatbelt sign as well as emergency exit signs. Now let's enter our flight plan. Departure from Philly on runway 27 left via the Philly 3 departure, no transition. Arrival at Boston through the Roebuck 3 JFK transition. Then in the middle, we can enter our cruise waypoints, which are Ditch, Luigi, and Hannah. If you have absolutely no idea what I just talked about, feel free to check our IFR tutorial series, which will explain to you what are departure, arrival, and navigation waypoints. Flight planning okay. Now let's enter the takeoff performance. Go back to your tablet and open the Performance tab. Click Fill from Flight Plan. Let's change the runway for 27 left, then click Calculate. It will generate values that you can enter on the third-party website that will make performance calculation way better than what the tablet offers. From the third-party website, here are my inputs and outputs. Let's fill in performance values in the MCDU. If you wonder what are these values, it's basically essential informations for the onboard computer to calculate thrust power for optimal takeoff as well as key airspeeds. V1 is the speed at which the plane doesn't have enough runway left to brake and perform a full stop. Rotate, the moment you pull on the stick to pull the plane out of the ground. And V2, the safe climb speed with one engine out. Good. Performance page is now properly set. Let's configure the initial altitude according to the chart. The chart says assigned by ATC, As we do not have ATC here, we will use a default 5,000 feet. Please note that this altitude is important in real life because of different layers of air traffic controls, but in the simulation it isn't needed. So if you don't want to lose time, you could directly set your cruise altitude. Now that everything is set, we will wait for the IRS to finish alignment. 2 minutes left. There it is. The plane now knows its location in 3D space. Next, wait for passengers to finish boarding.
Boarding completed.
Good. Now it's time to prepare for pushback. Let's start the APU so our plane gets in-house electricity. I almost forgot to activate the fuel pumps. Activate pumps first, then start the APU.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to receive final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing.
Monitor the ignition of the APU on the center screen. Let's also take a look at our doors. Everything is closed, that's good. While the APU is starting, let's also pre-plan our pushback.
Welcome aboard.
This fantastic pushback tool is in the description. Feel free to download it. APU now running. We can disconnect the ground power as well as enabling the APU bleed, which will add compressed air to the cabin and the engines. Let's start the pushback and release parking brake. While the plane is pushing, we can start up engines. Ignition on, fuel cutoff on, engine 2 is starting. Monitor your engine's power and wait for a stable 20%. Pushback finished, parking brake on, and I will also enable the transponder, so ground ATC can see us on his radar. Engine 2 stable 20%. Let's repeat the procedure for engine 1.
Attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Good. Both engines started. As the plane is now electrically powered by its engines, APU is not needed anymore. Feel free to toggle taxi lights if needed. Release parking brake and apply very gentle thrust so the plane gets moving. Taking a look at message on the center screen, I can see I forgot to stop the ignition. Let's stop it. The center screen also alerts us about wind shear system not being operational. Let's enable it. About to cross runway 27 right, left right, nobody, we can continue. As we are approaching the runway, the takeoff checklist pops up on the center screen. Flaps 1, spoiler armed, and auto brake on max. We will continue the checklist after this turn. Holding short runway 27 left, last 2 point of the checklist are cabin crew communication and verify the takeoff config. I also forgot to set the trim to the dedicated position. From the performance page, we can see a down 0.8, so we adjust the trim to match this value. We can now enter the runway and align the plane with the runway axis. Be ready, because next instructions will be fast. Power set to flex. Verify on the FMA, flex, SRS, and runway. Keep an eye on the speed and pull the stick at the rotation speed. Initially aim at 20 degrees pitch. Positive climb, gear up. Align the plane with the flight director. Once stable, engage autopilot. At 1,500 feet AGL, the plane wants us to put the thrust lever on climb. I forgot to turn on landings lights just before takeoff, so I do it now. Take a look at the airspeed. When it reaches the slats marker, you can retract flaps. Let's also disarm spoilers and activate recovery advisory on the TCAS system. Plane is stable and on autopilot. We can now turn direct to our first waypoint, ditch. We will also set our cruise altitude on the autopilot panel. At 10,000 feet, we can disable landings lights and free passengers. Passing 18,000 feet, we can switch the altimeter to standard. We have just reached our cruising altitude, flight level 230, and our speed is Mach 0.67. At higher altitude, you might expect Mach 0.78. For now, let's enjoy the view with a very cool elevator song. Okay, That makes me want to eat dust. Let's fast forward. Below us is the Kennedy International Airport, and if you remember well, this is also where is located the Kennedy VOR, our transition for the Roebuck 3 arrival. Descend should be in around 5 to 10 minutes. Oh, and here is New York. New York with paper skyscrapers, but still New York after all. Closing to our arrival airport, the MCDU tells us it needs more data before landing. Click Performance page, then enter the additional information. All of them are available on your tablet in the main page. About the minimum settings, the ILS 22 left at Boston is 200 feet radio or 216 feet baro. Destination data is set. Now we wait for the top of descent to come. Little descending arrow, this is our top of descent. At around 10 miles from the top of descent, you can set your target altitude. In our case, we will target the end of the star, which is tail, at 5,000 feet. Now all we need to do is wait for our plane to reach the top of descent. Here it is. Push the altimeter button on the autopilot and the plane will automatically descend according to a descent path shown by this green dot. I pressed the button a bit late, so the descent path is below us, but the plane is catching it as best as it can.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for our approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
Now we are back on the descent path. Small issue here, we can see the next waypoint has a 260 knot speed constraint. We can also see our airspeed is already at the top end of the margin. It's clear the plane won't make it to the constraint. As a result, I will help him a bit with some air brake. Result is immediate. Back on speed, back on the descent path. I can release the air brakes. Descending below 18,000 feet, we can set the altimeter with local pressure. From the performance page we configured earlier, we know it's 30.02. The plane will continue its descent, managing its speed and altitude to match the constraints. Let's fast forward to 10,000 feet. "10,000 feet. Time to buckle up, passengers, and turn on landing lights." Approaching the end of the star, let's verify the ILS frequency is properly set. Go to the RadNav page. ILQN 110.30 looks good. If you are not sure about that, you can always use the EFB and look on the ILS chart. As the chart is open, we will also define our next target altitude. We should cross Noli at 4,000 feet. From the navigation display, we can see we are getting close to the runway. Looking on the left, we can see the airport here. Approaching the end of the star, I always prefer to handle the airspeed myself. Let's pull the airspeed button on the autopilot panel and set it to 210 knots. We can also see Noli here at 4,000 feet, our next target. After passing tail, we will make a left U-turn while descending in order to join Noli. The plane is already at 5,000 feet and the speed is stable at 210 knots. We have just passed tail, the end of the star. Let's make a 90 degrees left turn while descending slowly to 4,000 feet, our next target altitude. Let's also activate LS display so we can see the ILS diamonds on the PFD. We are about 2 to 3 miles from the runway axis. Let's turn the plane with the runway axis plus 30 degrees so we will converge to it. While the plane is turning, we can also activate the localizer on the autopilot, so the plane will catch it as soon as it's available. Always keep an eye on the FMA. Vertical speed minus 700 feet per minute, and the plane will stop at the selected altitude, 4,000 feet. Heading mode selected, and the plane will catch the localizer as soon as it's available. Localizer catch. Now the plane is aligning with the runway. Looking at the chart, we can see the descent path starts just after Noli. As a result, let's reduce airspeed to 180 knots. Don't forget to put flaps 1 when getting below 210 knots. The magenta diamonds shows us the glide slope is coming its way. Let's activate approach mode on the autopilot so the plane will automatically descend through the path. Diamond in the middle. Now the FMA shows glide slope has been caught. While the plane starts descending, we can reduce to final approach speed. I pushed the speed button to set the plane back to managed, thinking it would catch the final approach speed. It was a mistake, as I forgot to activate approach in the performance page. Now it's okay, and the managed speed is the correct one. As the plane's airspeed decreases, you want to deploy flaps gradually. Waiting for airspeed to drop below the orange marker. Flaps full, gear down.
Flight attendants, please be careful.
The plane is still on the localizer and glide slope, while airspeed is decreasing to match final approach speed. The little landing checklist just pops up. Let's arm spoilers and inform cabin crew we are about to land. Let's also set auto brake to low. At this location, I would disengage autopilot and take control of the aircraft. But for the purpose of this video, we will let the Autoland feature do its job and pray the touchdown won't be too hard.
100 above. Fifty, 40, 30, 20, 10. Retard.
Oh gosh, that was louder than a 1.9-liter TDI. Throttle reverse and reverse green. "40 knots, throttle idle and auto brakes off."
Auto brake off.
Autopilot alarm, let's just shut it off. Exiting the runway, let's turn off landings lights and activate the APU. Spoilers and flaps retract. APU running, we can shut down the engines. And that concludes our full flight on the A320 FlyByWire. I hope you learned something new today. If that's the case, feel free to tell me what you learned in the comment section. I am curious about it. Thanks for watching. As usual, feel free to like and subscribe for more content. Happy landings, Captain.